Dumb, cool,
weird
podcast. So you're the CEO of a company, and you said you have a call center. That's
right.
So that's your is the place based out there in Costa Rica?
That is correct. I'm here in San Jose, Costa Rica. I've been here for the last 22 years when I was 27.
Oh, nice.
And I've had my company for the last 14 years.
Oh.
And so I came down here to work at my buddy's call center, and just the lifestyle here is incredible. I had to stay. And if you can get past your parents' guilt, guys, you can pretty much live anywhere in the world. So that's why I decided to do this.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, actually, I got a coworker. His wife is from the Philippines, and they're thinking about moving to the Philippines because he says if he retired in the Philippines, he would live like a millionaire out there.
Yeah.
So.
You'd be surprised. I mean, outside of the States, I mean, we can talk about that as well, being an expat and the cost of living. I just miss my friends. I mean, Atlanta's gorgeous. You guys live in a wonderful place. And there's certain things you can't get here. And there's sometimes long lines and potholes in the street, but if you can live around that, you'll do very well.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, our potholes can be pretty rough over here.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys speak second languages at all? Anyone speak Spanish?
No,
I
Spanish?
I started to learn Russian because I dated a Russian girl for years, but I never learned Spanish. I don't know anything about Spanish.
It's one of those things I'm definitely putting as a goal for the year.
Yeah,
honestly,
you have a little bit more of a.
I have a little bit more of an advantage as well.
He's married to somebody that speaks Spanish.
Yeah,
so.
My wife is Colombian.
Yeah, man. There you go. You got free tutoring.
Yeah. So that's the advantage, though.
Yeah, how many languages do you speak?
Just two.
Just two?
Just two.
Spanish. Yeah.
In English? Okay. All right. Well, cool.
Oh.
Yeah, so, when you're living down there, how far are you from the beach?
We're about an hour and a half in either direction. Since San Jose is in the valley, you can go to the Pacific side or the Caribbean side.
Okay.
And we are known for one of the best places in the world for surfing.
Oh, shit.
So if you look at two B movies like The Endless Summer and Surf School, it was filmed
here. Surf School.
But if you're at Malpais or if you're in Hermosa, I mean, literally, this is where they have international world surfing competitions, and it's just some of the best.
Wow.
Hands down. And ecotourism is incredible, gentlemen, from the zip lines to the hot springs to the beaches to the volcanoes, the monkeys, iguanas. And if you guys just want to take a spiritual retreat, you can lose yourself in the rainforest. I mean, it's just, we have a saying here, Pura Vida, which stands for pure life. And so that's really the sort of mentality that people have here. And so a lot of people really gravitate towards that. It's almost like shedding his skin, gentlemen. It's almost becoming liberated in a sense.
That actually sounds nice. I mean, I have a friend he's an expat. He lives in Norway, and he's been saying he's been enjoying his life a lot more since he moved out there. So I can understand that. Just going to a whole new area and experiencing a whole nother level of life.
Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what is society like there in Costa Rica? I don't know much about Costa Rica that much.
Extremely intelligent question, Wes. We're in Central America, north of Panama, south of Nicaragua. We're the only democratic society in Central America. There's no standing army. They put all of their money back into education, so there's a 95% literacy rate. And so they claim they have the most neutral accents. And companies such as Amazon, HP, Intel, and Oracle are here. And as I say, since it is a strict Catholic country and multi-generational sort of families here, it's old school. It's like 1950s. And so all the neighbors know each other, and the kids, once again, are very polite and respectful to their grandparents and parents. And so, I kind of dig it. And when you go to someone's house, you have to be polite. You got to eat 2, possibly 3 plates of food. So you just never turn that stuff down. You'll definitely gain some weight here.
I mean,
I would turn into a beach bum, sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, what is the percentage of people living in the country that are actually expats in Costa Rica?
That's a good, I know there's about 500,000 that are running around here. And they do come down here for medical tourism. For an example, you get your teeth done for next to nothing. A lot of people come here for hip replacements, but your insurance works here. And you can get things literally for a fraction of the price of the States.
Okay.
And
That's
if you
nice.
need to have a full-time person assisting you, you can get that for a very, very comfortable price. So, once again, you can be, as you say, living like a king. You can do that here as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I wanted to get some cosmetic dental work done. So would that be, I guess Costa Rica would be a good place to come and get that done?
Absolutely. I mean, off the podcast, I can give you 5 recommendations. And so, like, I can get a porcelain crown for, well under $1,000. I mean, just for a couple hundred if you think about it. And so, as I said before, you can really take advantage of certain areas here. Like,
Wow.
laser surgery for your eyes. And so a lot of people do things for their skin. And
All right.
so it's very interesting when you see the medical tourism coming here.
Okay.
And that's apparently a really beautiful place to visit. So it's like a double whammy then.
Yeah,
I'm also here, gentlemen. So, I mean, I can make 1,000 suggestions for you.
that's true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Richard lives there. I mean, that's the number one reason to visit Costa Rica.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
We can do our second podcast here too. Make it super dumb, cool, and weird in Costa Rica part 2.
That actually sounds like a great idea.
yeah, believe it or not, we've actually, as this grows, we're actually thinking about doing a world tour sometime in the future. Yeah,
Rock on.
yeah, like we go we want to go all over the world, and we just want to visit different countries, and we want to do like an episode in each country, and we want to get like a bunch of B-roll footage of just us acting the fool in these different countries. So it'll be fun.
Well,
I
acting.
wanted to let you guys know I got this huge Facebook fan page with about 97,000 ticos on it. So when this goes live, you're going to be getting tens of thousands of new fans. So
Oh, that's
pretty much your
amazing.
reputation will precede you when you come down here, which would be kind of cool.
That would be a nice.
Yeah, we'll come fully dressed in our dumb, cool, weird attire. We'll be
Yeah.
ready to rock and roll. So,
Well, we just got to get better merch now.
yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you get me a t-shirt. I'm a size medium.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll bring you like a whole care package of merch.
Beer glasses, coffee cups, shot glasses, hats.
Yeah, hats. Whatever you want.
I love it.
Pretty much.
So,
It's pretty much the good attire to like actually be on the beach with.
yeah, definitely. We could even get you a stereotypical beach shirt that opens up in the chest, with dumb, cool, weird logos on it.
Yeah, the crop top as well.
Yeah, crop top.
My boys, I could recommend some beaches where you could walk for hours and not see anybody.
Whoa.
Wow.
And it's not like you have McDonald's or shore houses that are right up there to the water. No. They're, as I mentioned before, it's so pristine and so natural. You could almost, once again, lose yourself in this
Damn.
sort of environment here.
That sounds beautiful. I need to go to Costa Rica then. Just lose myself for a little bit.
And I guess the water's really clear too, crystal clear.
In certain areas, yes. And I prefer certain inlets because we have very strong undertow. I mean, it's actually quite dangerous. You have to be very
Okay.
careful. But I would suggest certain national parks that have these inlets and certain other areas where you can just relax in the water and not really be concerned.
That does sound really nice, honestly.
Yeah, doesn't sound like a tourist trap like Panama City Beach or something.
Oh yeah, like when we were planning on going there for a
Yeah,
holiday.
We were gonna go. We were planning a trip, like the podcast crew. We were planning a trip down to Florida, and we were gonna go to Panama City. So, and we were gonna do we were gonna do this thing where we were gonna record everything, and we were gonna we were gonna release like a video of like our trip or something like that. But we decided we're gonna go to Helen instead. Helen's a pretty cool place. So.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper, like $59 a room, and you're in the mountains of North Georgia.
And you're not as crowded,
No.
So
I mean, it's a touristy stereotype German town, but it's kind of fun.
that's kind of fun. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, you guys should be doing things off the beaten path a little bit because everyone's black and blue from the same thing.
That is true.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure out how to structure our podcast because we keep having guests on, which is great. I like that. I like talking to interesting people like you. Like it's fun. It's just we're trying to figure out what our voice is going to be like because when you're creating a product, it's about changing the product and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. I feel like that's the big problem that most people who do like a podcast or any kind of YouTube content or whatever, I feel like that's what they kind of run into. They never find what their niche is, and then they keep making the same thing over and over again, and it's just not working. And we're trying to figure that out, like what our niche is.
I feel like it's slowly forming over time, though.
Yeah, it's taking a little bit of time, but we'll get there.
I like when podcast hosts ask follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go off on tangents. As you say, what I like about your style and what gravitated me towards your podcast, first, you guys are fun. So, I mean, it's a fun podcast.
Yeah,
But you never know what to expect. It's also a wild card.
Yeah.
And that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so, once again, myself as a guest here, I could answer almost any question. I don't know what to expect, and that just makes it more natural, more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's why you guys produce much better content.
Well, thank you.
Well, appreciate it. I mean, we're growing pretty quickly. I mean, we get new subscribers every other day. I mean, it's like we're growing. It's just it takes a long time, and we kind of planned on taking about 4 or 5 years, of growth. It takes time to build like a media, any kind of media.
Yes.
But what's fun about our podcast is that like we're not scared to take risk. Like we want to have an episode where we have like a black conservative and a white liberal talking to each other, because that would be fun. Like that's an idea we have for an episode. We have another episode idea where we're gonna get a
cop and a prostitute
to talk to each other.
More like a Jerry Springer sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess we could look at it like that.
Actually, yeah.
But it's raw.
Yeah, it's
and you're
raw.
getting real content.
Yeah, real content. Like the thing is, a lot of this content you see sometimes it's so scripted. It's just not. It's not like fun. And then there's also another problem. Sometimes they do get raw stuff, but then they cut a lot of the content out. And this is just going to be like a raw, unedited, like full like interview with like different types of people interacting with each other.
And then another problem, I guess, too, is like a lot of people who are creating podcasts are celebrities, and they just invite their celebrity friends over. So you don't get to sort of see just regular people a lot of the times, too.
Yeah. That's another thing.
But that works to your advantage, of course.
Yes.
Because you represent not the common man, the above average, but you speak for many.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. We one thing that I've noticed. So you haven't lived here in a long time, but basically what's going on in America right now is something I've noticed is men are becoming less and less and less masculine, and it seems like they're changing in a way. We've kind of noticed it with like people even in our generation, but like Gen Z, and then like the guys that are growing up after Gen Z, which they call them Generation Alpha. They look different. They don't look like a Clint Eastwood or like an Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger is like an exception of the rule, but you know what I mean? Like very like Bruce Willis is a good example of a really masculine looking dude.
Or Paul Hogan, like we were talking about.
Yeah, Paul Hogan. So
gentlemen, back when I was growing up in the 80s, it was cool to have an earring in your left ear, a mullet.
Yeah,
that is true.
That's
bright
fair.
Neon clothes. Sometimes we would roll the bottoms of our jabots or Cavariccis on the bottom. And so, I mean, you have to look at how we dressed and how we acted back in the day. I mean,
it is
purely
true.
generational.
But I still think that was very masculine, though, to rock that. I think anyway.
Look at some of the glam rock bands in the 80s. They were wearing. Look at Twisted Sister for an example. Great band.
Motley Crue as well.
For an example. Dee Snider could kick your butts. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He was a very masculine looking dude.
Yeah, and when he wore the makeup, it just made you more confused. Very intelligent guy and great music.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought like a lot of that stuff in the '80s was pretty cool. I mean, I thought the music in the '80s was really cool. Like I liked the vibe,
Yeah.
I dug it. Because growing up in the '90s as a kid, that's what I listened to was '80s music a lot, because that's what my mom and my dad. My dad didn't really like '80s music that much. My dad was a '70s guy, because that was when he was a teenager and a young adult. So I guess he preferred that. But he did like some things in the '80s. My dad really liked grunge music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You guys have to realize when MTV hit back in the day, that was it. I mean, you would rush home to watch the videos. You would tape it. That had such a huge influence on our music, because it was the first time I could really see it visually. So I mean, as I mentioned before, now it's just all about reality shows and other things. But if you ask anybody from my generation, we literally will call ourselves the MTV generation.
Yeah, and
Makes a lot of sense.
And that's the thing. A lot of times when me and my friends will have parties, we sometimes like to just turn on YouTube and just let music videos play.
That's cool.
And that's kind of what YouTube has become. Like that's where you go to watch music videos now. It's not You know, it's not MTV anymore. But I imagine back in the 80s, what YouTube is with music videos now is kind of how MTV was back then. Like if you like, oh, we're at a party, let's listen to some music, and they're like, let's watch some music videos, and they'll just turn on MTV, and there you go, you got music videos, and they just don't. You're right, they just don't do that anymore. MTV is like, they might as well just get rid of the M and just call it TV.
Yeah, now we've got
and the best was the MTV Music Awards they used to have every year.
Yeah,
that was our grad. And you'd see everybody together, and they were all decked out with their hair and their styles. And so, as I say, that was the sort of imagery that we were trying to imitate and trying to do. And so the guys are trying to look like certain guys, and the girls are trying to look like Madonna and Debbie Gibson. That's just how it was today.
That is true.
I believe that.
I think everyone kind of goes for, like you're saying, every generation has their own sort of look. Maybe the Gen Z, I wouldn't say millennials necessarily, but Gen Z has more of the androgynous look going for them.
Yeah, they really like that these days.
Gentlemen, the one thing I'm very proud of is that we invented breakdancing in the 70s and 80s. So movies like Beat Street and Breakin' and stuff, I mean, that was the best when you used to see that stuff in the movies.
Yeah. I actually knew a guy in high school that could break dance, and he was pretty good at it. He could spin. He could spin on his head. I don't know. I feel like I'd break my neck if I tried to do that.
It's amazing what you can accomplish with breakdancing.
Yeah, you could save the town.
Yeah.
Wasn't there movies where someone could save How are we gonna save the town? We're gonna dance.
Well, it's like we had that conversation.
Kind of funny. In Beat Street, they actually, instead of fighting, they used to have these break-offs. So they would just try to outbreak one another, and that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when they made Step Up.
That took it to the next level, though.
Yeah, it took it to the next level.
Or what is it? Stomp the Yard.
Stomp the Yard, yeah.
And then you got served.
You got served. Favorite South Park episode too, by the way.
Oh my god, dude, that's so funny. Yeah, and I'm
sure.
sure.
What's cool about my generation, though, since we didn't have the internet, we used to have to go to the library to look up books. So that was besides the mall. That was one of the spots we used to hang out.
Blockbuster.
And so that was pretty cool during the week too.
That's nice.
Yeah, you went to video stores like Blockbuster and stuff to rent movies too. That was like
if you could get them.
Yeah.
I mean, usually those ones were out, so you'd have to go to the older section. And it was kind of interesting for me, gentlemen, because, you know, I was on a budget back in high school and college. I used to go to the public library that would give you free movies. And so I was going back and looking at Alfred Hitchcock and Humphrey Bogart and Steve McQueen movies, because that's more for my family, my parents.
Yeah.
But to me, those are some of the best movies you could ever see. I mean, Steve McQueen was the man.
Oh, yeah.
And so it
like
really
Jack
introduced me.
I'm a big Jack Lemmon fan. Love that guy.
Who wasn't?
Yeah.
What? Coffees for Closers, right? That was one of his most famous scenes.
So when I was in college, we had to break down that movie, Some Like It Hot, and we actually had to do scenes from that movie. And I got to play Spats. That was the Spats Colombo. He was the gangster in that movie.
Kind of funny that you mentioned that. Those are the only shoes that I wear are Spat shoes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, do you ever send people to sleep with the fishes every once in a while?
Not me, my man. I'm not that kind of guy.
Me and him are we're huge fans of mob movies and mob television. Like we love The Sopranos. We talk about that. We talk about The Sopranos a lot. We love that shit.
Did you watch Boardwalk Empire as well?
I'm going to get into that, actually.
I watched the first couple episodes of the first season. I like it. It's really good. I love it.
You should also look at the old Sam Spade, Humphrey Bogarts, because you could see the real shadiness of the gangsters back in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite film noirs of all time is this one called The Big Combo. It's a really good movie. It's from, I think, 1939, I think.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. One of my favorite genres of all time. And they never get old.
Oh, yeah. They're really good. I wrote a screenplay because I'm a filmmaker. That's what I do in my personal life or my business life. That's how I make my money. And I want to make a classic film noir so bad. Like I'm talking shoot it in color, mastered in black and white. Have use the actual type of lighting. Like we're gonna use Fresnel lights because everything is LED these days. We're gonna use Fresnel lights to make it look really authentic, and it's gonna be really cool when we shoot it. But it's one of those things I really want to do it right, and I've got people that are going to help me with it, but It's called Easy Doe is the name of the movie, which is a very like film noir 1930s 40s name because but it's got all the stuff. It's got the femme fatale. It's got the main character who is a he's a slimy bastard, and he's gonna get his upcomings in the end. It's gonna be fun. But those are I'm right there with you because I love my favorite movie of all time is Blade Runner, which is a tech noir. It's a film. It's a neo noir. Great movie. So.
What was that? 1982.
82.
Yeah.
Oh, and Harrison Ford. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the Blade Runner.
Yeah, such a good movie.
What a good call. What a great call.
Yeah.
Do me a favor when you're making this movie. Try to find a classic Ricola to put into it because when I watch all these old movies, since I am a avid gamification collector, I get fascination after seeing these pinball and jukeboxes on screen. So that's my thing.
Oh yes,
absolutely. Well, I'll be sure to find something.
Yeah.
We're actually going to shoot it. We're going to shoot it over here in Gainesville, Georgia, but we're going to make it look like rural New York, basically. So
very cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun.
Because you were saying that there's certain parts of New York, like rural New York, that kind of look like rural Gainesville.
Yeah. Very similar. I've looked at pictures. They look very similar. Like honestly, you could pick somebody up and like
just drop them there,
middle of nowhere in Georgia, and put them like up there in New York in the middle of nowhere, and honestly, they'd have a hard time telling the difference. And I think it's because the terrain is very similar, but also the way the foliage looks, it looks very similar. But the thing is, like they would know right away because they would hear the accents. Because even though they would have like sort of like country accents a little bit, being out there in the middle of nowhere in New York State, they would still have a very different accents. I think they'd be able to tell right away. So,
all right, that makes sense.
Yes, but I grew up in Georgia my whole life. He's from Canada, actually.
Originally from.
Oh, really?
Yep, I'm originally from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I moved to the U.S. and I think we did late 2000. And we moved to Charlotte, and then after a year or two of being there, we moved down to Georgia, and I've been here my whole life.
You a hockey player, Nick?
On and off. I was more of an artsy kind of kid, and then I discovered weightlifting in college.
Cool.
So I really should have strived to compete in some of the college events at least. That would have been fun. But yeah.
You seem like a big boy. What could you max on the flat bench?
Right now, only 305 because I'm back at getting everything sort of situated. Had a broken clavicle, and it kind of messed up my shoulders and my neck for a long period of time. So, and that happened. That was an injury while I was in the military. So I was like, it kind of screwed me up. And then, it's like I have to basically learn to move around my injuries so I could try and compete because I'm trying to, at least by the next year, do my first competition. And right now, I think everything's actually moving pretty fast, I would say. The muscle memory really kicked back in, and I'm just like adding weight like it's nothing again, which I'm really enjoying.
Nick, any sort of supplements, creatine, weight gainers? What are you using to keep the pounds on in the shred?
Empanadas.
Empanadas.
I did not expect that. Nice. All right.
My wife feeds me well, and
all right, there you go.
What's good though is that she actually kind of keeps me on track because now I'm trying to do a weight cut because I'm a little fluffy around the midsection, so I got to get down to 200 or 190 preferably. I'm sitting at like 230 right now, so she helps me to keep up with what I have to put into my body, which is really helpful. And she did the same thing for me when I was in the military to keep me healthy and everything. So she's she's my partner in crime, and she's been lifting too now. So it's like
really?
I'm trying to get her to be in a competition as well if she will stick with it.
That's cool.
Just fun stuff like that.
Yeah, I played football for like 10 years, something like that. So I did weight training competition in high school actually.
Yeah.
So,
really?
The highest bench I ever had was 450 on bench, and my squat was like close to 600 pounds. I think I got up to 585, and then my power clean was like 315, I think.
Yeah, the cool thing is though is that you guys did the power clean instead of the deadlift. But then again,
well, power clean can be really dangerous, dude, if you don't do it right.
yeah, if you're not doing the right things, you're gonna get hurt with that one for sure.
I can't lift like that anymore, man. If I tried to lift like that, I would die. I'd be in a lot of pain.
I mean, like right now I'm closer to my 30s, and I will say it's like it actually feels different from when I was first in college for sure. Like you can spend forever in the weight room versus now where you're just like, all right, I'm gonna focus on bench today, and then we're gonna do some supplementary exercises because I can't just spend hours in here anymore.
I agree with that. I did put a home gym during COVID,
nice.
so I got most of my equipment. So I do about 2 hours in the morning. I'm embarrassed to like to know what my flat bench was. It was 265, not even close to what you guys were doing. But there's two things I've done recently, which definitely has helped me in regards to my saturated fat levels and my definition. One is to cut out the majority of bread.
Yes.
And I got the juicer, so I'm doing a lot of, natural juicing in the morning, and that's really assisted me as well.
Yeah.
And so that's really helped me shred. And so I'm, for almost 50 years old, I'm looking pretty good.
Yeah, you really are. And I would definitely say sugar is like the biggest thing that kills you in life. People don't notice that everything that they're eating, like especially with breads, is just packed with sugar and it creates more fat.
Well, I mean, the problem is in our country here, like bread is included in everything, like everything you do here. Like everybody wants to give you like carbs like
10 servings of bread.
Yeah, it's not even, but it's not even about the bread. Like it's potatoes too. Like too many potatoes, that's way too many carbs. It's just like the thing is we eat way too many carbs here in this country for sure. We eat way too many. And like you said, simple sugar. I think people eat way too many simple sugars too.
Yeah.
Especially like when you go buy fast food and stuff, they add sugar to like everything.
Oh yeah, and that's what keeps you going back for it.
Yeah, that's how they keep you addicted to it, and that's why
there's an obesity problem because those simple sugars.
So bad here.
Those simple sugars make you crave it
especially
again.
where we live. We live in the South. Like it's really bad here. Like if you go over one state to Alabama has one of the worst obesity problems in the country. Like you literally will see obese people just randomly walking around, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on? Like it blows your mind how many more obese people there are just one state over versus where we live.
Oh yeah,
my friend, that's a forced march for them. Obviously, your weight is almost like a boxer. It's really your own efforts and what you receive from it. And I sometimes binge eat. If I'm not feeling well, I'll eat a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups or something. So I understand.
Everybody has their thing.
Don't put a bag of Doritos in front of me. That thing's gone.
Yeah.
But it's each its own. When you work out, you get spiritual.
Yeah.
And you know that your body needs it after a certain period of time, and you feel good about yourself. And so, as I say before, I guess it's each individual's walk that they have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I knew this girl. She didn't want to lift weights. I like to lift weights because I like the reason why I like lifting weights is because I can see results happening as I work out.
Yeah.
And that's I'm able to focus on the muscle groups and stuff. But her in particular, she likes to go hiking. So I just tell her to go hike like 3 times a week. And she's been doing that, and it helped her.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy.
You don't want to go to a dance class with her?
Dance class. Well, the thing is, like, she's actually not that bad looking. She's actually really pretty. She's thick, but she just wants to lose some more weight, And I just told her, I was like, just add something else to what you do, and just let it become a part of your routine and your habit. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Because
So I have a question for you. Besides the gym, obviously you're into athletics, so I'm sure you're doing other things besides hiking. You must be you're washing cars. You moving things around, and you doing anything else to keep your body moving when it's the off day in the gym?
Manual labor.
I hike. I mean, right now the weather's so hot outside.
Yeah.
You can literally just walk, and you're gonna start your heart rate's gonna go up, and and you're gonna start sweating.
I remember what that was like. Yeah. That humidity was a killer in Philly during the summers.
Yeah,
yep. But honestly, that's why I think that's my theory why people have beach bodies in the summer, because you're literally like sweating and burning a lot more calories because the sun is a lot hotter, and that's why during the winter people usually get a little bit fluffier.
Yeah. It's like you're hibernating almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
So, but I mean, I like to go do mostly outdoor stuff. I love kayaking. Yeah. Kayaking is one of my favorite things to do, and we have really good rivers here for kayaking.
Yes, so that is very true. I mean,
so
I just like going on nature walk trails too. At times.
I like swimming too. Swimming is really fun too. It's good exercise.
Swimming's amazing.
I have a question to follow up on your nature walk trails. When you guys are decompressing what you're doing at work and in your podcast, do you get some of your best ideas when you're out there and you're just walking by yourself?
Yeah, sometimes I think it's just a great way to kind of clear my head, and everything sort of just comes right to you. I mean, sometimes when I'm just in the gym generally, I've noticed that sort of clarity comes out and everything starts coming together, and I'll call Wes or he'll call me when we're working out, and then we'll just kind of build up on what we've just discovered.
Yeah, we just kind of bounce ideas off each other. I mean, one of the things that we talk about a lot these days is the woke culture here in the United States and how it's like growing. And I don't know if you know much about that. It's just basically where people are getting offended about everything. You know, like back when me and Nick were in college together, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Things were very different. Like we felt like a lot of the stuff that people talked about, like social justice issues and stuff, were were warranted. But we feel like it's gotten to the point now where it went from being about like, you know,
real change to
just people coming up with things to be offended about or upset about. We've talked about this with other people we know.
Yeah, I think it's artificial change that they want to create.
Yeah, and so we definitely talk about that a lot, and a lot of different people are already talking about that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different people from different walks of life, black, white, Hispanic, whatever gender they associate with, and they all just they all talk about this stuff, and a lot of people are getting really irritated by it, you know, and because we when we first saw it, we were just kind of like, what the hell, like what's going on here, and then we kind of dug a little bit deeper into it, and then all of a sudden more and more people are just complaining about it, and then we like looked into it a little bit more, and we just found out that there's like a big divide going on right now.
Especially with politics, it feels like a lot of this stuff really embeds itself with politics. So we're already pretty much separated based on our political beliefs out here. And then once you insert those little culture wars within your political beliefs, you're creating more division.
Yeah,
and I think it's kind of depressing because there's a lot more that we could work together on and agree on than kind of doing this petty infighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen it, and I've read a lot about it. I know that it's a delicate situation. The only suggestion that I can make, and I guess it kind of reverts back to what I do for a living, which is telemarketing. I really try when we converse with clients or there might be some sort of elevated stress, is to be as diplomatic and strategic as possible. Using certain words that, once again, will less offend. Like, for an example, simple example, and it works across the board. Instead of saying help, you could use words like guide, assist, and lend a hand.
Okay.
And so just even something like that won't have someone feel inferior or superior, offended, or offensive. And so it's just one of those things where, as I say before, if you can walk around that and work with it, and maybe do more active listening than you do speaking to make your point, then possibly you could readjust your argument accordingly so that it might make sense. Doesn't mean you have to agree with their opinion, but as you say, there are certain facts that you can talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I try my best to just respect someone's space. And as long as someone has good faith and good intentions, I'm cool with almost anything. But then again, the best relationships are made, gentlemen, when someone can leave something on the table. So I'm more than willing to accept, as long as they're willing to accept me. And if everyone's accepting, I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. It's very good to be respectful of everybody's, well, just everybody in general, you know, because then you can build off of that. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I
mean, that's what we try to. I mean, that's what we try to do too. It's like, as much as we do talk about that we see as problematic in sort of the woke sphere. We're still trying to let these people like speak on what their opinions are, and we can hear their beliefs, even if we don't agree with them entirely, because it's just valuable to understand where they're coming from as well.
Yeah, because that's what we're all about. We're all about like letting people say what they want to say. Because I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech, and all the consequences that comes with freedom of speech. You know? It's one of those things that's very it comes with negatives, but it comes with a lot of positives too.
I always try to find something in common. They probably like pizza and puppies. So maybe that's where you begin.
Yeah.
And you might just have a conversation on what sort of toppings you like and almost leave it at that. So then you have a small win, a first down.
Yes.
And then maybe you can come back again and talk about a second or a third topic. But at least if you can enter and leave something without any offense and choose a neutral topic, which is not woke, which is, I guess, pizza and puppies, then you could be very safe with testing those waters initially.
Okay,
that's true.
Yeah, I guess we could bring someone on here like that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I know a lot of different people that would.
I mean, honestly, we've also been trying to.
Yeah.
It's just getting the guests on. So that's sometimes a bit of a challenge too.
Yeah, it's not even because they don't necessarily like our podcast. The reason why they don't want to come on is because it's hard to get people to do things these days without you offering something in return. Like, for instance, the people I'm trying to schedule right now, to get them on here, I think they want me to shoot some videos for them or something, which is,
Weren't you supposed to send me $100 after this?
Where's my $100?
We're here to
Where's my
each other's
$100?
sales. You guys are good guys, and I like your show. So I'm just so happy to be here on a Friday. But hang in there, because most people quit 80% in. Ask your pops; he'll tell you this. Back in '79, you got to go 15 rounds. You got to do the Rocky distance.
That is
and
true.
As long as you take the hits and you keep moving forward, you guys are going to be fine. There's always adversity. There's always Sisyphus, where you're pushing the rock up the hill and it rolls back down. And it's about maturity. It's about experience and growing up. And so the more that you have that, the better you will be.
Yeah, I mean, we've already got some haters already starting to form up.
Nice.
So,
but you're not a real company unless you have haters.
You know what? I look at it like a good thing, though. It's a little bit of publicity. If someone doesn't like us, somebody's going to be like, why should I hate these guys, or why should I, love these guys?
Yeah, like this one guy commented on a video we had. It had like, I think 1,000 views. And
yeah.
He goes, imagine making a video and nobody watches it.
Yeah.
And I like commented back at him. I was like, oh, but you watched it. Thank you.
Wes, it's almost like putting another 25 on each side of the bar. That's what they are. It's just more resistance is what it is.
Yep.
And as long as you can power through that, then, as you say, you'll see the results. And listen, thank them for commenting. Thank them for taking the time.
Yeah,
I think it's incredible that you invested your time for yay or nay.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
Hey, he wanted to invite them on.
Yeah, I always ask like the haters to come on. I was like, what don't you like about us? You can come on through like virtually like you are. You can come and sit here right across from us. Bring some friends, bring some popcorn. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't you guys realize, with the thousands of podcasts out there, you did something to catch their attention and to motivate them enough to reach out to you?
Yes.
I mean, you really have to look at it that way.
I mean,
I see it as totally positive.
I mean, we had our first sort of viral video like a month ago. It was a clip about we were telling stories about friends that like pooped their pants.
Yeah.
And it was like a clip from our episode, and literally Nick just like texts me and goes, "Dude, that video you posted has like over 700 views in like a matter of like an hour." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Then it went up to like, it's almost at 3,000 views, I think.
Yeah, now it's like at 3. It's like
it's the topic we all can relate to, just won't admit.
Yeah. So what's interesting is the ones that get the most traction is weird stuff like that, or when we talk about sex work. Sex work seems to really draw people in.
I think the weirdest comment, though, like hateful comment we ever got, was when we said, they should find ways to make like sex work legal and safe. And somebody wrote us a paragraph on how we were wrong while also being a supporter of sex workers.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Very bizarre.
It was so hard to decipher what they were trying to say. It was like word salad. It was
Yeah.
It was really long. It was like 2 paragraphs worth of stuff, and we were trying to decipher it, but it was hard to understand. And we sent it to other people to read, and everybody else was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
And then at the same time, they also say that a lot of the hateful comments are also Russian bots, so you have to be very careful of it too, because they want to create dissent in your comment section.
Yeah, could be.
So it could be a lot of things.
No, I have no idea.
But
that's legal here in Costa Rica. In fact, we had one of the most famous brothels in Central America called the Hotel Del Rey.
oh wow,
Unfortunately, it's been closed for a long time, but at one time, this was the biggest casino and party place in the country. And so
Wow.
since it is legal, it's just part of the society. It's just one thing that's here. And, you might have your opinions about it, but there are certain people that support families doing this.
yeah,
And, once again, it's a topic that is very sensitive, but then again, here, it's something that I guess has been, in a sense, tolerated in Costa Rica. I can't necessarily say 100% accepted, because it is a certain side of society, but as I say before, it's it's just something that you somehow have to live with and accept.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it like this. It's it's one of the oldest professions in the world.
yeah. You're it's right next to being a warrior. It's like people have either done sex work or done some kind of work as a protector in society or something like that.
Well, I mean, look at the Wild West. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of those towns. What draw a lot of their revenue was those saloons. And I watched a documentary about how a lot of those ladies actually owned a lot of those saloons, and they
employed everyone
and they
in the
basically
towns.
funneled like money around to actually build schools for kids. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, they created a whole environment, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I dig
It's truly amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, stuff you don't learn about in school, right? Like, I never learned that stuff in high school, like in grade school. It was not till I got into, college that I learned more about stuff like that. And I did like more of a deep dive on a lot of different things. Although I will say that, I had a lot of professors that didn't like it too much sometimes. I'd be like, what? Why are you so upset right now? It's like, this is like part of history. Like,
when you grow up a certain way, you could be sheltered, you could be in a bubble, you might have opinions that are presented to you and a certain career that should be expected of you.
Yeah.
So when you leave home, sometimes it's a big, crazy world, almost like
Yeah.
The Catcher in the Rye. You kind of wake up to what's going on out there.
Yeah.
And, traveling Europe, I got a chance to go to Amsterdam. So you got to see the red light district and you got to see the bulldog and the grasshopper. And so that was a huge wake up call for me at 21. Spent a whole week there, by the way.
Oh, nice.
And it's just those maybe coming of age moments. It's those times when I guess you have a drink for the first time or smoke for the first time. And, these are things that I guess you just grow up and you try something when you're in college. And so just things are different. And as long as I always believe that the European parents, when they allowed their children to drink wine at dinner, they weren't as crazy as, let's say, American kids where they were repressed and it's illegal. So they try to grab the alcohol and drink too much. And so there's a certain place when you're outside the United States where bodies, are more natural. So with artwork and how they present themselves, it's not as reserved, and alcohol or certain other things where it's just readily available, but it's not abused because once again, it's part of society and it's not a taboo.
Yeah.
And it's just, as I say, it's very interesting when you go to different places of the world, what they hold to certain high esteems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that. I dated a girl who was from Europe, and every time I'd get drunk around her, I'd be like, you want some? And she'd be like, I'm not trying to get like wasted. That's not good for you. She would always say that every time in a very like nonchalant voice. And
Yeah.
she, looking at it years later, she was right. It's not healthy.
I mean, it's kind of true though. It's like because my grandparents were from Italy and Greece, and they would try to give you like wine or shots of stuff just so you could try it, because you ask like, hey grandma, can I try the Zambuca? And it's kind of like one of those things where once you try it and you don't like it, you don't think about it again. Or like you said, it's not one of those things you seek out once you finally get of age, or you look for a wino and get into a dangerous situation because, some guy, you're waiting for some guy to buy you beer.
Yeah. I mean, I never got into liquor or wine. I liked beer growing up. I was a beer guy. I just didn't really like liquor. Liquor just never was appealing to me. It always tasted like rubbing alcohol to me, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's why I just never got into it, because my buddies would be over there doing shots of vodka, and I'm like, bro, I don't want to do that. And they're like, why? It's like, why do I want to take shots of rubbing alcohol?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun at all. I'm going to throw up.
We used to do Bartles and James wine coolers. That's what we used to drink back in the day.
Wine coolers. I remember those.
Yeah.
I just knew some girl like these women. They loved growing up. There's some women I knew. They really loved Arbor Mist. Do you remember Arbor Mist?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like a fruit wine. It would be like blackberry or something.
Yeah. I actually remember that.
It actually tasted pretty good, but it was too sweet for me. I'm not a big fan of like really sweet stuff. I've never have been, even like sweets, like fruit and stuff. I'm more of a savory guy. I think that's why I like beer, because beer pairs really well with savory foods, right? Like chips and cuts of meat and stuff. I think that's why I like beer so much. I mean, one of my favorite beers is we have here in Georgia. It's called a Sweetwater 420.
Yeah.
It's my favorite beer. It's like one of his favorite beers.
Yeah, it's
too.
a really good company, honestly.
And it's a really bitter beer. It's like super bitter. And then they make an IPA version of that, and it's even more bitter. It's really good. Then they have an Imperial IPA.
Why 420, if I may ask?
The guys that started the company are a bunch of stoners.
Okay. Had to ask.
Well, they've set themselves up in a good spot because once marijuana gets legal in Georgia, I have a feeling they're going to be one of the first brewing companies to brew like their own like marijuana beer of some kind.
They're gonna try and meld cannabis somewhere in there.
Yeah, somehow, some way. It's a good company though. My dad knows the owner, so he's done some work for him. They're a good group of guys. They're actually one of the very first micro like brews here in Georgia that's became very successful. So,
nice.
And they're based out of Atlanta. So
It must be super fresh. I mean, it's coming right out of the factory there.
Yeah, like literally, like when you drive down here, you can literally see the factory from the from the highway. So
and they have their and they have the 420 logo on some
of their containers outside. It's funny. Yeah, it's a cool place to visit. Me and Nick before I moved to Dawsonville, we're gonna probably go there and check it out sometime.
Oh yes.
So it's cool. At least do it once.
How large is this small town that you're moving to?
I'd say probably about
it's growing too.
It's growing. So that's where I went to high school. I went to high school in Dawson County. When I first moved there, there was nothing there. I think the population was maybe 30,000 people. Now we're looking at about 120,000 people.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it grew really big.
Oh, it's also there's also so much expansion with the universities out there too.
Yeah. So it's grown a lot, and it's going to only get bigger. But then that's really 130,000 people is really nothing compared to where his family lives in Gwinnett County. It's like millions and millions of people.
Yeah, and it's constantly expanding. They're always putting up new housing, but
so many people.
Sadly, at the same time, though, it's kind of destroying the natural beauty of the area itself as well.
Yeah, and then Metro Atlanta, as you know, is like huge. Like it's like 10 million people easily. A lot of people living here.
The only thing I always hate about the expansion is like how you're just destroying the natural environment, because there's just so much that's being taken away just so they can put up really expensive housing everywhere. And it's kind of sad because, it's like the nature trails are going to start becoming even more artificial as time goes on. Yeah. And it makes you kind of sad because it's like you remember being able to go out into the woods in a certain point, and now there's like neighborhoods being built there.
Yeah, you like literally run down a trail and you go to see a really beautiful clearing, and then you see some jackass like on his back porch, like cooking some burgers or something. Ooh, nature. Ooh.
I live in nature.
Hey, what's up, Jim?
Hey, Jim. Stop grilling naked. Don't tell me what to do. I'm on my property.
This is nature, Nick.
I think since it's virtual, you guys should keep expanding, and you should keep trying different places. Maybe live a place a month, do an Airbnb, and just test out certain places. I mean, that could be wicked.
Yeah.
You were mentioning going on the road and traveling, doing podcasts. It might work perfectly for you.
Yeah,
that's true. We could probably just.
I mean, it's in the plan. I mean, when we go up to when we go on our vacation up to Helen, we're gonna set up the podcast like outside and probably record and have people walk up and talk to us. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah,
great idea.
So
great idea.
I mean, we can even do the same thing. We could test it out too in the Gainesville Square near my place.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Just to see, because that's just a nice area with a lot of foot traffic, so we can just see what happens.
Yeah. So that'd be fun.
That's smart. The man on the street, just someone coming up saying something random, and just they're going to be watching it. Of course, all their friends are going to be around the the TV watching this. So I think it's a brilliant idea.
And it's perfect because it's public space. Like you don't really have to have a permit. All you got to do is have signage that says, "Hey, recording in progress." If you come within a certain amount of feet here, you'll be recorded. As long as you put that up, you're usually pretty fine.
You guys think about doing anything with high schools or middle schools just to get that sort of perspective of the younger generation?
I think there's like a lot of permits you got to go through.
We could
get something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could. It would just first of all, we'd have to dial it back because our podcast is pretty like lewd and crude. We'd have to.
I think it'd be good if we just if we start hitting more of like the college campuses first.
That's
and
cool.
then try to and see if we could roll it back from there to try and see like what a high schooler's perspective on things would be.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Because I've been on 3 podcasts with kids that were in high school, and they were absolutely brilliant. Once again, it's in regards to being polished. They're still young, and you could tell that they're still building on their skills. But I've never seen such commitment and responsibility. I mean, they're in real time writing emails and following up and sending questions. It was more than my pleasure to put wind in their sails and to participate on their podcasts. And I think I got more of a kick out of it than I have on some of the other ones, just because I put myself in their shoes back in the day. Nothing better than the first person buying your lemonade from the lemonade stand. It really adds momentum. And you guys have so much to give back. And you could do a rated G. You could.
Oh, yeah. That's
Even
true.
Jerry Seinfeld says you can do comedy without cursing.
Yeah,
this is true.
That's true.
And you guys are versatile. You could do G to X. You could go all up and down and left and right.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, I think this younger generation looks up to you guys as like cool seniors. Like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. It's just, you're that guy.
Yeah, we'll try to be. I know one of the things that I have been trying to focus on with our podcast, like I said earlier, is we're really just trying to find what our voice is going to be. We got to figure out, what our branding is going to be, and then we have to like stick to it.
Well, what is your thought on that? It seems like you already have this.
Well, I mean, we do have
2 best friends talking, and you just keep it open, and we go left and right and zig and zag. I mean, what more are you looking to do besides the tank top and your muscles? I mean, what more branding are you looking to do, Wes?
I guess I don't know. I guess we're just trying to reach as many markets as we can, just to see what works.
Yeah.
I mean, we've tried so many different types of things so far, and they seem to be working pretty well. So I guess you're right. I guess it's just a matter of us continuously just keep up with it.
Just branching out as much as we can.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We're trying to be better about what we call like traditional marketing, where we go in person and talk to people. We're trying to be better about that, because we try to do as much as we can online. It's just, we're trying to get like a marketing person to help us. That's because marketing is not something that I'm the best at. I'm really good with this stuff. I'm really good at tech stuff. I like run the camera. I edit the content. I run, like, while we record, I'm over here mixing the audio. So that's like my skill set. Like, that's what I'm good at. And then James, the other guy, he's like, he doesn't come on very often, but he's really good at like talking to people. He's really good at like basically doing like backdoor, like what would you say, like he's really good at like getting deals when it comes to like sponsors and stuff. That's what he's really good at. And We're trying to find a marketing guy, but Nick's thinking about going back to school or maybe like learning more about marketing so he can do that. So,
because I mean, I still got
Who does the writing for your team? Who's the writer?
We kind of all write it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Good. I think that's the most important thing. Even if you toss it away or just put it aside, it's the muscle memory. You get in your rhythm. I think you should be, and if it's not writing, then just do voice to text. You're mentioning Nick calling you and hearing ideas when he's walking, but you never know what comes out.
I do know the new setup is going to be a lot different. We're going to be in a bigger room.
Much better space.
Much better space. And we're going to have a computer, and we're probably going to have... we're
gonna have our own version of Jamie from the Rogan podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna have them sitting over here on the computer just looking stuff up. So that'll be fun.
So that we can have somebody to also check our facts and everything.
Yeah. So I think that's when that happens. I think that's when the show is really gonna explode, because the problem we have right now is I live way down here, they live all the way up there, and the commute coming down here is just a pain in the ass.
Sometimes almost like 2 hours, but it's it's a commitment. It's worth making, you know.
But when I move up to Dawsonville, they'll be like 15, 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
So.
That's nothing.
And then, I mean, at that point, we can even see each other more.
Yeah.
So we can bounce off more ideas in person, talk more business in person.
Yeah, because when I first move up there, the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to probably be doing a lot of construction. Not like heavy construction, but we'll be doing a lot of like work on the podcast area, because we're going to be designing it, because we're going to figure out what we want it to look like, essentially. So,
would you be willing to do podcast episodes on that? What's behind the scenes?
That could work too.
They'd find that fascinating.
Yeah, we could do that. My cameras actually do time lapse, so I could actually show a time lapse of us putting something together.
Yeah,
pretty easily. That'd be fun.
Like I like reading Reddit, and I like some of those topics they bring up, and the smart people say, "What would you do if you were in this situation?" And then all of a sudden, your audience is making those suggestions for you, and some of them are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like breaking down that fourth wall. You could literally have the people seeing what it's like for you and participating in this. And you guys are in this echo chamber. You're 3 or 4 together. You might reach out here and there, but once again, by getting that sort of completely different perspective, you could crack some codes for you. It could get you out of that writer's block, or just open up new areas you never even thought about before. Like having me today, I'm the first call center CEO Costa Rica guy that's on. And so once again, it's a different sort of angle that you thankfully accepted me to be on your show today.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And as I say before, once again, this could be a gamut of different areas to touch that for the first time that you've never even seen before. And so,
absolutely,
as I say, it'll keep you spontaneous and it'll keep you fresh.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
And you're big boys, you can take it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if they throw you a curveball, you guys can handle it.
Absolutely. I think we'll be fine.
I mean, we're pretty resilient.
Yeah. But we're at the 2-minute warning. And what I like to do is before we sign off, would you like to plug anything?
If someone wants to find me, they can go to CostaRicasCallCenter.com, my Facebook page, where I'll be putting this interview. And if they want to visit me, just grab a ticket, fly down to Costa Rica like you guys are going to do sometime this year, and spend some time with me. But for your audience, I can't thank you and your audience enough for spending time with me on this Friday.
Yeah.
And you're great guys. I look forward to watching more of your work.
Oh, yes.
Seeing you grow. And so,
appreciate
my friend, anything I can do to add wind in your sails, that's what I'm here to do today.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for
thank you very much
and helping us out. You know, we if you don't mind me asking, where did you see us at?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are on Google. You're everywhere.
Okay.
And so, you know, as I say before.
No,
I mean, the name is what caught me. Dumb, cool, and weird.
Yeah.
We all fit into that. I mean, which one's what? Am I dumb or the cool or the weird one? And so
definitely the cool one in my book.
Yeah, the cool one.
But you guys are fun. It's like hanging out with buddies, and it inspires enough to reach out to you. And so I support you. And what you're doing, I think, is fantastic. And I had a great time today. I mean, we covered so many topics. You know, we went everywhere. And so this was possibly the most eclectic interview I've done yet. And
Well,
I've enjoyed it the most.
Well, the best thing about what we do with our interviews is when we do stuff like this, it gives us a lot of good clips to put out there.
Yes.
So that's what we like. We like to have like good content for clips, and that's one thing that people do like about us is we have our clips.
We always have something to keep them to keep them coming back or sample.
Yeah, like a sample. They get to see like what's going on, and they can come and watch it. I mean, obviously, when we move, the new setup's going to be even more advanced because one of the issues we have right now is because we run everything through my phone. We're very limited with a lot of the things we can do.
Yes.
But once we have the computer set up at the new place, it'll be a lot more advanced, and it's gonna be better.
Yes.
So that's what we're excited for.
And so am I. I'm looking forward to it too. And as I say, your fans just like watching your progression.
Yes.
But it makes me happy to know that I did a lot of search engine optimization work on the back end like last year, and Nick remembers when I was doing it. It was fucking so much work, but it looks like it worked, so I'm happy about that.
Oh yeah.
Well, the market speaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if no one shows up to Chuck E. Cheese, you don't have any friends on your birthday. But obviously, 1,000 views here and these responses there, positive or negative.
Yeah,
of course.
You're making a difference, and that's exactly what your goal was initially when you started this.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's nice because we have seen that that our audience is not just like based in the United States too.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's starting to grow everywhere else.
Yeah. That's
You got Costa Rica now.
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to get a huge fan base here.
Thank you.
I love that. If we can win Costa Rica, then we've won at life.
Yeah, because then we can just go to Costa Rica and we can spend the rest of our life there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be celebrities there.
Yeah. Or just live well and feel happy.
Absolutely.
Live pura vida. Live the pure life style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
But as usual, check out www.dumbcoolweird.com. We have merch there. Please buy that really cool merch. We're going to have some new merch up pretty soon in the next month. We're designing some new T-shirts. Nick's new shirt is going to be out. It's called Don't Be a Smooth Brain. And it's going to have a picture of a koala brain on it.
Yeah.
Because they have the smoothest brains some of the smoothest brains in the animal kingdom.
No folds.
No folds. We're also going to have new content coming, every week as usual. We always have new content that usually comes every day. I know today we didn't release a clip, but that's because I was super busy today, and I know Nick was pretty busy. So,
yeah.
But we usually have something every day for everybody. I mean, we had a new episode today, and I'm doing it with Mrs. Casey Myers. She's really cool. And we're gonna have more stuff, and please go check out our YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. If you hate us, tell us you hate us. We like that. We love the hate.
And if you're a hater, please come on. Tell us what you don't like about us.
Absolutely. And we're very lucky to have Mr. Richard here, Richard Black. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Us. It's really, really wonderful.
Thanks, guys.
Nick, you want to sign us off?
Stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thanks for checking out the Dumb Cool Weird podcast. Go to our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com, to check out our merch and all our social media links. If you want to check out how to support us and our audio podcasts only, and an access to our website and all of our other links for our social media, go to linktree.com, which has Dumb Cool Weird podcast. The link is up below. Hope you guys will check us out. We have new content coming out every single Monday. We have new content coming out every single day. Check it for 9 a.m. Clips, reactions, whatever. We got it coming for you. Hope you come out, check it out. Stay sexy, Atlanta, and keep watching our crap.